Servus, it's nice that you have tuned in again. Question: what is one of the things that is really cool about retro computing? The answer: the feeling of playing around with old original hardware, maybe also nostalgia, if you used to have exactly the same kind of machine yourself. Okay, with Ataris, Commodores and Amigas, that is still possible to a certain extent. You can still find them reasonably well, apart from the fabulous Amiga 3000 perhaps. But what about the x86 front, especially the original IBMs like the 5150? I'll take a closer look at that in today's episode. Let's go! The year is 1981 and the company is IBM, Big Blue. The product, the IBM 5150, or better known as the IBM PC.
The very first computers seemed as big as houses and so mysterious that for most of us the computer was behind a closed door. But IBM was thinking how to make the computer more useful, and as one good idea led to another, it began getting smaller, faster, less expensive, and easier to use. Today, a new IBM computer has reached a personal scale. A person can afford it. A person can put it anywhere: office, home, or school. And a person can learn to use it with ease. IBM made its personal computer to help a person be more productive, to help a person be more creative. And those are good reasons for a person to feel good. The IBM personal computer.
Its specifications were an Intel 8088 CPU with 4.77 MHz, 16 or 64 kilobytes of RAM. They were upgradable to 256 kilobytes, a monochrome display adapter, short MDA, or CGA graphics with 4 colors, a built-in speaker, the famous PC speaker, 1 or 2 5¼ disk drives with 160 or 320 kilobytes, and 5 expansion slots with 8-bit, later also known as 8-bit ISA slots. All of those parts were readily available. Let's go back to the year 2023 and imagine that we are into retro computing and would like to have an original IBM 5150. Let's go to the internet and check it out. Alright, let's check out eBay. The IBM 5150. And there we go. What do we have here? This is an MDA monochrome display card for an IBM 5150 or 5160. Looks nice, but it's not what we're searching for. It's just a card. And it goes for over 80 euros, including shipping. This is what we're looking for, but it's just the case only for 325 euros without shipping. Sure, it looks nice, but without anything else, quite expensive. What do we have next? Some ROMs, some PSUs, and yeah, that's a complete computer, but I don't think this is... oh, it's also just a case. And it's not even an original IBM one, it's a clone. So 90 euros for a 40-year-old case in not the best condition. This is an original IBM 5150 with a working monitor, but it's over 1,200 euros, excluding shipping. Some cards, some parts, hard drives. This is cool. It's a complete Atari PC free. We're not looking for that, but it's really cool. But again, over 3,000 euros isn't cheap at all. There is another one, 500 euros without shipping, but it's also a clone and not an original one. Yeah. As we can see the range is rather limited, and what is on offer is really expensive, because the computer alone isn't enough. You also need a suitable monitor, depending on which graphics card is installed in your machine, and good luck trying to send a maybe 40-year-old CRT monitor across Europe by post. Alright, original hardware from the time is hard to get, but what alternatives are there nowadays? If it's purely about the games from the time, one alternative would be Dosbox. And by the way, you can find all links to the programs I mentioned in the video description. Dosbox is a program that emulates a classic MS-DOS environment, in which you can run pretty much any game from the good old DOS days with relatively little effort. But what if you want a more complete PC experience? You don't just want to play with the old computer, but you would also know which disks, or in this case, which disk images you would need, so that your 5150 boots into PC-DOS and you don't end up in BASIC. How much RAM is in your computer, or what kind of drives are installed in your computer, and do you have a hard disk? And if yes, which type? If you want this experience, the solution in this case may be also emulation. For example, x86 box and PCem. In this video I will concentrate myself on PCem here. PCem stands for PCemulator and is really available on the internet, which is simply brilliant. And what can it do? Well, what can't it do? PCem can't make a real IBM PC appear in front of you out of nowhere. Nothing beats the real thing, that's for sure. But apart from that, it doesn't really leave anything to be desired. A Tandy 1000 with Tandy graphics and sound? Of course, up to a Pentium 2 with 450 MHz with Voodoo graphics and Windows 98. But sure, anything is possible. You can even configure and save individual components. How cool is that? Alright, but what do we need to get started? First of all, you need the program PCem. You can download it on the internet and install it. You can find some links in the download section, as well as old versions of the program, and you can find some links in the video description. And then just install it and let's get started. As you can see, there are already some configurations saved. You've got your new configuration, rename, copy, delete. There's also an option for configuring host if you want to use a network, a virtual network. Let's go with this one. It's a standard IBM PC 5150 as the title of this video. As you can see, you can configure different sections of your emulation computer. And let's start with the main one. We want an IBM PC. It could also be a PC Junior, XT, whatever you want, up to a slot 1 Pentium. You can also change the speed, but we will stay with the stock 4.77 MHz. I want an FPU, a coprocessor, and I want the full 640K of RAM. Could also be the cheapest option back in the day, which were 64 kilobytes, but we'll go with the full 640K. Graphics cards. Standard is a CGA one, but for more diversity, let's try an MDA one. Speed is default. You can also configure your speed as you wish. We don't need any sound device because we were going with an original PC speaker. We don't have a hard drive. We have two 5¼ inch 360K floppy drives. You can also configure your own hard drive as you wish if you want. As you can see here, you can choose different image formats. You can give it a name, and you may remember in old BIOSes there were types of hard drives, and you have those list of hard drives there. From type 1 to type 64 and 152 megabytes. You can also specify your own hard drive with 600 megabytes. But we don't need one. Let's take a serial mouse. I don't need a joystick, but anyhow. And you could also configure a network card, but this won't be necessary for this PC 5150 build. Alright, PC is configured. Let's start it up. There we go. You can also open this menu. It shows the emulation speed, the drives and the activities. And of course you can change to full screen mode. So it's perfectly like an original one. Of course it takes some time because it's not a racing car, it's an IBM 5150. And there we go, the IBM Personal Computer Basic version C1.1 from 1981. As we don't have a hard drive and we didn't insert a disk with an operating system, the IBM 5150 boots straight into Basic. Yep. Original, simple, basic. But what if we want an operating system? Well, just insert a disk, or in this case, an image of a disk. And we want, what do we want? IBM PC-DOS 3. Let's try IBM PC-DOS 3. Just restart. And wait. As you can see, the disk drive is loading now, and IBM 5150 with PC-DOS 3.0, not Microsoft DOS, IBM PC-DOS. And let's try let's try something. There we go. We also inserted an image with a game on it, and let's try this one. Oh, I forgot. That's it. This program requires a color graphics adapter. Yeah, of course, because as you might remember, I configured this IBM 5150 with an MDA graphics card. It can only display text, so let's open up the PC, let's change the graphics card to CGA, and let's try again. And as you can immediately see, the resolution changed, because CGA wasn't able to display high resolution of text as MDA could. Back in the early days, you had to decide if you want graphics, color graphics, or high resolution text. There we go, back in time with another screen resolution, but let's try the game again. Classical Alley Cat. And with the inserted CGA card, everything runs perfectly fine. I don't want to use a joystick, I'm a kitten. Let's go. I'm not very good at this game. Nope. And there you have it. An IBM 5150 for cheap. Of course, it's not the real thing, and tinkering around with original hardware is always the way to go, but if you're not able to source one or find one for a reasonable price and just want to tinker about with this hardware, with its quirks, with its features, this might be a good option for you. But wait, you might say, a retro computer with a flat screen, that doesn't match? Give me a second. There you go. Everything is right set up, and there we've got our CRT screen, and let's try loading something on a 386 in full screen. Alright, there we go. What do we have? Monkey Island. As you can see, there are many ways that PCem can be used, and even with old original CRT monitors. So if you want a real retro experience with a CRT, there you go. And as we are already on the game side of things, well, let me show you some games on different systems. I would say that's it for this episode. How do you see the whole thing? Write me in the comments. Do you prefer real hardware, or do you say prices at the moment are absolutely ridiculous right now? Is emulation a viable middle ground? Who knows? I guess everyone has to find the answer for themselves. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to put together a free 86 computer that runs Wing Commander 1 at the right speed. As always, stay safe, stay foolish, and thank you very much for watching.